The foods you trust most to start your morning could be draining your energy before you even leave the house. These 7 everyday breakfasts look harmless, but they're packed with sugars, refined carbs, and unhealthy fats that set your body up for crashes, cravings, and even long-term disease risk. Here's the kicker. Most people eat at least one of them every single day without realizing the damage. By the end of this video, you'll know which ones are quietly tearing down your mornings and what to swap them with instead. Number 1. Sugary cereals. You think pouring a bowl of cereal is the safe, simple way to start your morning. It's closer to eating dessert before work than fueling your body for the day. That shiny box covered in cartoons and bold promises hides more sugar than most people expect, and it turns breakfast into a blood sugar roller coaster. For many of us, cereal started as the breakfast of childhood. Bright colors, crunchy shapes, and the idea that it was quick and fortified made it feel like a good choice. The routine stuck, and plenty of adults still eat it daily. But now the evidence is clear. Even one small serving can load you with added sugars that push past what your body should take in before noon. You end up meeting your daily sugar max in just a few bites. What happens next is a surge of fast energy that fades just as quickly. It's like filling your car's gas tank with fumes instead of real fuel. It sputters, gives a short burst, and then leaves you stranded. That crash is why an hour later you're reaching for coffee, another snack, or anything to fight off fatigue. Instead of steady focus, you're trapped in a cycle of cravings. Added sugars don't just create a momentary slump. Research ties high intake to weight gain, insulin resistance, and weaker appetite control. Over time, the habit leaves you less sensitive to hunger cues, which means larger portions and more snacking to feel satisfied. For seniors or anyone worried about metabolism, that morning bowl becomes a daily hit that chips away at long-term stability. Those colorful boxes aren't giving you true nutrition. They load your bloodstream with a disguised sugar bomb that doesn't last. Swap them out for plain oats, unsweetened Greek yogurt with nuts or eggs. These choices steady blood sugar, deliver protein, and carry you through the morning without the crash. Think of it as trading empty fuel for real power that lasts. Number 2. Flavored yogurts. You pick up a small cup of yogurt thinking you're making a smart choice. It feels like a quick health fix. Probiotics, calcium, and that glossy label with words like light or wholesome. But here's the truth. Most flavored yogurts are closer to pudding cups than a true health food. They carry sugar levels that turn your so-called clean snack into a disguised dessert. A single tub can hide 2 or 3 teaspoons of added sugar, sometimes even more depending on the flavor. That's the same hit you'd expect from candy, not breakfast. And while you may think the fruit puree swirling in the cup is wholesome, it's usually syrup. Instead of natural sweetness, you're spooning in refined sugar that does nothing for lasting energy. The live cultures you're counting on stay in place, but their benefit is weighed down by the sugar load they ride in on. The contrast against plain Greek yogurt is stark. Greek versions naturally pack more protein, which slows digestion and adds satiety. That protein is your ally for steady mornings. In flavored brands, much of that strength is traded away. What's left is a softer, higher sugar product that leaves you hungry again soon. It's like building a house on sand. It looks solid at first, but collapses under real pressure. And hidden sugar doesn't just cause quick crashes. Long-term intake weakens metabolic health. It encourages insulin resistance and stokes the cycle of craving more sweet foods later in the day. You think you're checking a healthy box, yet you're priming yourself for a second breakfast before noon. That short gap between meals and the constant urge to snack trace straight back to that flavored tub. Here's the kicker. Only plain or unsweetened Greek yogurt holds up to the promise on the label. Add real fruit, nuts, or seeds yourself, and suddenly you have balance. Protein, fiber, and natural sweetness that your body can use. The difference is clear. One version fuels you, the other spikes and crashes you. And that choice is in your hands each time you open the fridge. Number 3. Processed meats. Bacon, sausage, ham. They feel like the real deal when it comes to breakfast comfort. The smell and sizzle make them hard to resist, and for many people they define what a hearty start looks like. But here's the truth. These processed meats are less about comfort and more about loading your body with salt, fat, and preservatives before you've even had time to fully wake up. The danger isn't always in plain sight. A couple strips of bacon or a sausage link seem small, but underneath they're packed with sodium and saturated fat. That combination pushes up blood pressure, stiffens arteries, and strains your heart over time. Add in nitrates and other preservatives, and you have a mix tied closely to inflammation and chronic illness. That's not fuel. It's like pouring hot grease into your engine before the car has even warmed up. Research shows that frequent intake of processed meats connects with higher risks of heart disease, type 2 diabetes, and even some cancers. These aren't one-time effects. They build quietly, meal after meal, year after year. When you make bacon or ham a near-daily ritual, the load of salt and fat doesn't vanish once the plate is clear. It keeps adding fuel to long-term risks. And for seniors whose bodies are more sensitive to sodium and circulation strain, the hit is even sharper. The problem is routine. Because these foods are seen as tradition or comfort, they sneak in without a second thought. Breakfast becomes the anchor point for damage that compounds across decades. You're not just eating a strip of bacon, you're building a habit your arteries will pay for later. Here's the kicker. Those sizzling slices aren't just breakfast. They're chronic risk disguised as comfort food. If you want the flavor without the fallout, swap in plant proteins like beans or lentils, or stick with lean whole cuts used occasionally. Bottom line, it's not just about tradition, it's about seeing the risk that hides in the routine choice you make each morning. Number 4. Pastries. Packaged muffins and pastries look like harmless little treats, the kind you grab on your way out the door when you're pressed for time. They're wrapped neatly, they sit on the coffee shop counter or the grocery shelf, and they promise ease. To most people, they feel like a practical indulgence. Something fast, something sweet, something that appears to cover breakfast when you don't have time to cook. But here's the truth. That tidy wrapper hides nothing but empty calories. The base of nearly all packaged muffins and pastries is the same: refined white flour, heaps of added sugar, and processed oils. This mix doesn't give you steady fuel, it behaves more like striking a match. The flame is quick, the burst of light is sharp, and within minutes it fizzles out, leaving only smoke. That's the effect on your blood sugar. You surge, then crash, and the crash doesn't just leave you tired, it leaves you hungrier than you were before. Within an hour or two, many people feel drained, irritated, and ready to snack again. That repeats the cycle all morning long. A pastry, then a craving, then another quick fix. The so-called convenience snowballs into energy swings that steal your focus, your mood, and your productivity. For seniors or anyone already watching blood sugar, that swing adds real risk. It places more strain on the body than you realize. And the coffee shop combo of pastry with a flavored latte doubles the crash. You're stacking sugar on top of sugar with almost no protein or fiber to slow it down. What looks like a cheerful morning ritual is one of the worst starts you could choose. Here's the kicker. Packaged muffins and pastries aren't breakfast. They're nutrient debt wrapped in pretty paper. Swap them for high-protein snacks like plain yogurt with fruit or a boiled egg with nuts. You'll still satisfy the taste, but this time you'll leave the house with steady energy. Quick pleasure, long crash. That's the real recipe behind a packaged pastry. Number 5. White toast. You think white toast with margarine or jam is the safest, simplest breakfast in the world? It feels harmless, it's automatic, something you can make half awake without thinking. But here's the truth. That slice of white bread is just starch stripped of almost everything your body actually needs. White bread starts from refined flour. That means the fiber, the bran, and the natural nutrients are milled away until all that's left is a bland starch. When you toast it, it may smell warm and comforting, but nutritionally it delivers little more than a quick sugar surge. A single slice usually gives you less than 2 grams of fiber, while a whole grain option can be several times higher. Fiber is what slows digestion, keeps you full, and supports gut health. Without it, your blood sugar spikes fast and drops hard, leaving you hungrier than before. Think of it this way. White bread is like paper tossed on a fire. It lights up in seconds but gives off no lasting heat. That's how it works in your body. You get the quick rush of energy, but it collapses almost as fast, which means you're soon back in the kitchen, searching for something else to eat. That morning, safety food is not keeping you stable. It's priming constant snacking. Here's the kicker. White toast with margarine or jam is an illusion of breakfast. It fills a plate, but not your stomach. Whole grain bread paired with protein, like eggs or nut butter, creates satiety and stability. Bottom line, your gut and blood sugar don't need empty slices. They depend on fiber-rich starch that actually carry you through the morning. Number 6. Pancakes and waffles. Stacks of pancakes or waffles feel like childhood joy. They remind you of weekend mornings, family tables, or diner plates loaded high with syrup and butter. The nostalgia is real and the tradition runs deep. But here's the truth. Those fluffy stacks are far closer to cake than they are to a balanced meal. At the core, pancakes and waffles start with refined flour. That means stripped grain with little fiber left behind. Then you usually add sugar to the batter, cook it in oil, and top it with syrup. What you end up with is starch plus sugar plus fat. Very little protein. Almost no fiber. It fills your stomach, but it does not sustain your body. The syrup is the critical hit. Just a modest pour can rival the sugar load of a soda. One drizzle becomes a flood, and suddenly you've turned your breakfast plate into a high-sugar dessert. That surge sends your blood sugar spiking faster than you think, and the sharp rise is always followed by a crash. That's why an hour later you feel sluggish, unfocused, and ready for another snack. Here's the kicker. Pancakes and waffles aren't evil. They're just not built to be fuel. Treat them as what they really are, desserts. Save them for the occasional weekend, not the daily habit. Or shrink the portion and balance it. Add eggs, Greek yogurt, or nuts on the side to blunt the crash. Number 7. Fast food breakfast sandwiches. That shiny breakfast sandwich feels like a time saver. You grab it on the way to work, clutching that warm bag from the drive-thru, convinced you've solved breakfast without slowing down. It looks convenient, it smells comforting, and it feels like a full meal. But here's the truth. It's a salt and fat bomb built more for speed and shelf life than for your health. Take a closer look at what's inside. Processed meats like bacon or sausage, refined white bread for the bun, and a spread or cheese slice that piles on even more fat. Each layer stacks sodium and saturated fat before your day has even started. By the time you've finished, your blood pressure is primed to spike. The body reacts quickly to that much sodium early in the morning, and for many people it tilts the entire day towards stress on the heart and kidneys. And it isn't just about one sandwich. The real risk is the pattern. A quick stop each morning builds into chronic exposure. That means steady hits of preservatives, excess sodium, and empty carbs posing as breakfast fuel. You don't feel the damage immediately, but over weeks and years, these quick fixes carve out real health problems. What felt like convenience now operates as daily wear and tear on your body. Here's something most people miss. Fast food breakfast isn't really designed around protein or nutrition. It's engineered to hold up under lights and heat while staying cheap to produce. That means ingredients chosen for durability, not balance. You're not paying for fuel. You're buying storage-stable fillers disguised under melted cheese. You don't need strict rules, just better swaps. Higher fiber breads, plain yogurt with fruit, oats, eggs, or plant proteins give fuel that lasts. Think of it as trading false comfort for real stability. Subscribe now and I'll show you not just what to avoid, but the safe, satisfying options that keep your morning strong and your body protected.